Media Essential Workers, we're here for a public service announcement, right? We're always here doing kind of these entertaining shows that you tune in for to find out about people who have done the work in the industry prior to us, all sorts of stories of the storytellers. We're also now kind of helping getting the word and the message out about stuff that affects a lot of freelancers, daily hires in our community. That's the Entertainment Industry Flex Plan. We have Sean Dugan, and actually it's funny, Sean, Facebook reminded me that 2 years ago on this very day, we were doing this in person. Sorry, if you could just pop that up. This is what we were doing 2 years ago in Chicago at an establishment called Bellwether. That was a pretty pricey establishment, but good ambiance.
I do remember that.
Do you remember this? We did have a fair amount of people coming in, getting their questions answered, getting the information they need for their flex plan. So pop that off if you wouldn't mind. We're doing things a little differently. We're joined not only by you, Sean, but our good friend, John Rizzo. There you are. John with IBW 1220. All of our members, for the most part, have had the opportunities to come and ask you, Sean, indirect engagement fashion about how the flex plan works. We got to change with the times. We're kind of doing this remotely. First of all, John, thanks for joining us. How's everything with you?
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me again.
No, absolutely. It looks like we got 3 members on right now. And if you're watching this, reminder, if you're watching it on YouTube, if you're watching it on Facebook, you can write in any questions you have, comments you have, anything else. You can also click on the link that's right in the feed right there, and you can join and ask direct questions. You might not want to ask anything personal, like, put your social security out there. But general questions we do want to talk about. First of all, Sean, most of us know this, most of the people in the freelance world, but what is the flex plan?
The Flex Plan is a plan established for daily hire members working in the entertainment industry to provide health benefits for them. So it's based upon the employer contributions negotiated under the collective bargaining agreements through participating local unions. And from that, participants have the option of choosing our group insurance or being reimbursed for other items if they are covered by group insurance. The plan has a couple different PPO options available, as well as dental, vision, life, and disability benefits.
All right. And just a reminder, currently the open enrollment period is on. So people are able to, at the website below right here, able to decide what their plan is going to be and select it. They have to do so by December 31st, correct?
Correct. The clock is ticking, and we ask that people do it as soon as possible so that if they need any help from our member services department, they cannot all call on December 31st like they want to do, because it'll just be longer hold times. But we'll be open Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday this week. We'll be closed for the holidays on Thursday and Friday. Then we'll be back in through December 31st. So we'll be working on New Year's Eve. Not like we can do anything else, but that's the last day of open enrollment. So if someone does need help, they're best to do their open enrollment first. And a lot of the times people need help with pre-tax. That's where if you're on our group insurance coverage, you can set aside money out of your payroll and not pay taxes on it and have that money go towards the cost of your coverage. So anyone who gets a bill from the plan, or if anyone whose employer contributions are going to be less than what the cost of the coverage is, then they should really check out the pre-tax contributions, because they can save a good amount of change on that. For example, if you've got a responsibility of $1,000 a month because you're covering a family, that can save at a 25% tax bracket about $250 a month. So it can really make a difference on the take home and how much money is available to the participant. The catch is you have to do it per IRS regulations by December 31st. If you call on the 1st and say, hey, I forgot to do it, there's really nothing we can do. So you'd have to wait until the next year and lose that whole year of tax savings. We do send out reminder notices, and we'll be sending pre-tax reminder notices, but that's something you definitely want to get done before December 31st.
John, have you heard a lot of questions from the people that you talk to, your members in sports productions, that you think Sean could take a shot at answering?
Unfortunately, this year, not a word, because there hasn't been any physical contact. I haven't seen any emails other than a complaint or two. Other than that, no. And just as a side note, I just took care of my open enrollment in the Flex Plan. I believe it was Friday. And I every year need somebody to help. Usually I bother Sean about it, but I this time I just called in, said I need some help with an adjustment on my open enrollment, and was able to. I was basically on and off the phone in less than 5 minutes. So always a big help. Not a lot of not a lot of changes to my health insurance or dental, vision, etc. I'm still on family. It's it's fairly expensive, so I have to do a larger contribution, self contribution. But again, very easy to work with the flex plan and deal with. So big help. So thanks, Sean.
And one thing, you and I spoke before, and one thing I want to make sure, because we have a lot of sports production members who tune into this, a lot of freelancers. One of the questions that came up, and I know we had talked about this before, was because of the hiatus in sports work, a couple people went, more than a few people went, a couple of months without work, and they were wondering, the flex plan, I do want to put this out there, gave kind of a 2-month, what's the word I'm looking for, kind of grace period for
special open enrollment.
Special open enrollment, where people could select and recustomize their plans. And I know a lot of people utilize that, but some people are in a position where they couldn't continue contributing into the fund. And one thing I found interesting, I want you to elaborate on this, is if you have $62.50, I believe is the amount, then you are open to getting the paperwork and being eligible for next year as well. There will be no disruption in services, correct?
Right. So if you continued your coverage, then it would just go on, and you would be able to change an A plan or any out of plan that you want during the open enrollment period, which is the one that ends on December 31st. If you allowed your insurance coverage to drop because you couldn't afford it because you weren't working, and then you started working again, or you had $62.50 left in your account after the coverage lapsed, then right before Thanksgiving or right around Thanksgiving time, you would have received an open enrollment package from the plan. So it would either be via email for people on email delivery, or it would be a 6-9 envelope if people were on paper delivery. And that was the indication that the person is eligible to enroll during this open enrollment period.
So if someone, say, had less than $62.50, so they didn't automatically get this, but they're working again, it's picked up again for them, should they
get their own cycle?
Okay.
They'll get their own cycle. So once the money posts, then generally in the first week of next month, we'll send out packages to people that, so if it doesn't happen during the open enrollment period, it could happen later, but it would be the same. They'd have a 30-day window to make enrollment choices. And the coverage might start February 1st or March 1st instead of January 1st if they didn't qualify for the January 1st date.
That's fantastic and good to know. Looks like we have 5 people watching. And again, the whole purpose of this is we're going over with Sean Dugan, who is an administrator with the entertainment industry flex plan, handles usually he's here with us in the same room, and he's going over paperwork. We can't do that this year. We want to give the opportunity, myself, Media Essential Workers, NABIT, John Rizzo, IBW 1220, to get the members' questions out here. All 5 people who are watching right now, and anyone who joins, you can type in the comment any questions you have, and we'll make sure to kind of get that answered. I guess one of the other questions that I have is, tell us a little about, you guys aren't just not just health insurances, right? You also do, for certain bargaining units, also, I believe it is like, what would you say, 401k, retirement benefits. So if you could kind of go over a little bit about how that works, because I do get a fair amount of questions on that. And I do it another way. So I am not the best to answer it. So I'd like to give you that forum.
Sure. The companion to the flex plan is the entertainment industry 401k plan. That plan works very similar to where you have an employer contribution, which is negotiated into the contract. It varies by what union you're in and what contracts you're working under as to the amount of money that's going to come into the plan. So most of the IBW contracts, I think if not all, John, have a 401k contribution included in that. So that would be the employer portion. And then you would also have the ability to put in extra money out of your pocket on a pre-tax basis if you're using the 401k option. And there's also a Roth 401k, which is after tax. So the difference between the 401k and the Roth 401k is, on the 401k, you don't pay state and federal taxes, but you'll pay FICA and Medicare when the money comes in. When you take the money out, you'll pay taxes on the original money that you put in addition to the earnings on money when you take it out. The other option, which is the Roth option, is you pay taxes on the money coming in. So when your employer withholds it, they take taxes out on the money that's coming in. However, when you take a distribution of that money, you don't pay taxes on the original money that came in because you pay taxes, and you also don't pay taxes on the earnings over the time that the money's in the plan. So that's the Roth versus the regular 401k. The participant in the plan has the option to decide where the money gets invested. So if you don't do anything, the money will go into what we call the target date funds. And the target date funds are based on what date you would retire at age 65. So it might be the 2030 fund, the 2040 fund, whatever it happens to be. You have the ability to change that into anything else that you want, but that's the base if you don't do anything. We do ask everyone fill out an enrollment beneficiary form. There are some people we have sent 10 forms to. We send them out at least every year if we don't get one back from someone. And John knows that when I'm out on a job site, and if someone doesn't have a form, I'll print one and try to, that's when you can actually be around people. But I would print the form and ask them to fill it out and collect it so that, you know, you'd have it on file. If you don't have a beneficiary on file, it just makes it harder for whoever you leave behind if you pass. Then we have to try to find who the proper beneficiary is. And it also, you need that form completed to get access to your account online.
Folks, so you can always put me down as a beneficiary if you really don't want to. So,
make things real simple.
Make things
no conflict of interest. No conflict of interest.
None at all. Just JOHNRIZZO. Just fill it out. Not a big deal.
This is
remember.
You know, one of the things I am going to ask, and I just want Sean to remind people about how this works, because this is a question I get fairly often is, hey, I have my own insurance. I get group insurance through whoever, spouse, someone tells me this, yet I got automatically enrolled again with the flex plan. And the reason being, I suppose, because it is on the website that I've seen, but not everyone sees this. You've got to submit that you have proof of insurance. Otherwise, to be covered, you guys will cover them, correct?
Yeah, so it doesn't happen without us sending out multiple notices to the person. So during open enrollment, everyone who has insurance coverage through an outside source, so that let's use the group coverages. So covered by a spouse, covered by another employer's plan, covered by another union's plan. Every one of those people or participants will receive 2 or 3 notices besides the open enrollment notice saying, please go through the enrollment. And we added on verification process now because people get stuck on open enrollment. So we're calling it open enrollment / insurance verification, so that they go through the process. They basically log in with their PIN. It can be done in less than 2 minutes. The boxes are pre-checked for them. They click on submit. Within a minute or 2, they get a form that's pre-completed. Then they just check the box that I'm covered by my spouse or I'm covered by my spouse's employer. And then they give us a copy of their ID card. We have a new thing that is available starting December 1st, which is the document upload. So there's a link, which is flexplan.com/upload. They can log in and upload that document to us, and then they can tell immediately that the document is on file. We'll give them a confirmation number. They can also look at their document received. So if you have $1,700 or more in your account and you don't show that you have proof of insurance during the enrollment period, we will send you a notice saying, we don't know if you have a group insurance or not. Please let us know. If not, you'll be enrolled. Then you get another one, we haven't heard from you. You're going to be enrolled effective this date. And they'll get another note saying you've been enrolled effective this date, and they get a copy of the enrollment form. So they have multiple choices and chances along the way to let us know. And even if they do get enrolled, they can still contact us, but it's a lot easier to do it before you actually get enrolled. So we don't have to have you fill out a credit request form. But it's real simple. If it's done during open enrollment, there's nothing to worry about. And if someone is covered by their spouse or covered by their another employer, just remember every December, just go through open enrollment, and it's pretty much the same every year. People that have individual policies or exchange policies, we also need verification of insurance on those policies, and that's done the same way, going through the same process. The difference is if you're covered by an individual plan or an exchange plan, the federal government does not allow us to reimburse premiums or premiums or out-of-pocket medical expenses because you're not covered by group insurance. So someone might ask, well, what's going to happen with my money during that time? It will just bank up in their account. And as soon as they have coverage through a group medical plan of any sort, whether it's from us or someone else, then they will be eligible to turn in claims for reimbursement of out-of-pocket medical expenses, deductibles, co-payments, eyeglasses, all that kind of stuff. But that's only if you're on an exchange or an individual plan.
All right.
Hey, Raza, I know you got a question coming in, but I can't express enough. This is why my hair looks this bad, because I'm kind of pulling it out. Members just simply don't. Sorry about the background noise.
No, he's got questions.
Simply, at certain points, do not pay attention, and they're not reading their emails and that sort of thing. So it's very important when you get your notices, open them and read them, and then pay attention to what's actually being said, because it's all it does is lend to a ton of aggravation for our folks when they say, well, all of a sudden I was enrolled and I don't know why, and this and that. And as Sean has said, there have been multiple notifications. It's just a matter of reading them. And I know there's a lot of folks that don't want to read their mail. I know there's a lot of folks that want to just delete every email. But this is important because it's your money. And it's aggravation to both sides. So please, it's open enrollment. Just if you have an email, open it up, look at it. If you're already insured, look at your email, read it, because it still doesn't, even if it was the same thing you had last year, you still have to pay attention and you still have to respond. Or else, then all of a sudden a bill comes and you're like, what's this all about? So please, for the folks that are listening and the folks that are talking to people that aren't on this town hall, please tell them it's open enrollment. Please pay attention. You do have to respond in some way or another. So
absolutely.
Thanks,
vital to know. And again, if you got an email notification, you should have got this somewhere after Thanksgiving. Check your spam. Make sure if you haven't gotten it, it didn't get caught up in there. Does that happen a lot? Sean, does your stuff ever get into spam? Is that excuses people use?
Well, yeah, or I haven't had that email address for 5 years, but if you don't tell us and it doesn't get bounced, then we have no way of knowing that it's not getting to you. But you don't have to even have the email to do the open enrollment. It's on the front page of the website. It's the first thing that you'll see, and it's a really super hard link, flexline.com/OE for open enrollment. If you're covered by an individual policy or an exchange plan or other coverage, there's a separate item with step-by-step instructions, what you click on in the whole 2 minutes that it takes to do it. It's very straightforward. Also, just wanted to add one thing that we started doing because people claim to not have received all 5 messages that we sent them. We will actually now call everyone when they're being enrolled mandatory. And we'll leave one courtesy message, and then after that, there's not a lot we can do. But people do tend to all of a sudden see the email when a bill comes with it. I don't know why they don't see the other emails, but when it's got a bill, then they can see those.
Is this phone call? This is something new then, right? Because I don't know if...
we started doing about a year ago. It just wasn't worth all the grief we would get for saying that I never got all these 5 or 6 things. And so we figured we'll just place a call to each person that is being enrolled.
And I do apologize. We did have someone who's waiting for a call. That was Mike, who wanted to ask a question. Looks like he got logged off. We will take your question as soon as you pop back on. I want to make sure to get your questions answered. In the meantime, if anyone has a question, looks like we have a few viewers, you can ask in the comments. You can click that link and pop on to ask the question yourself. In the meantime, I'm just going to give you, Sean, the opportunity to talk about what are some of the questions you hear regularly that if you could address it all at once, here's your opportunity.
Oh boy, how much time do we have? No, most of the questions just come to do with, do I need to enroll? Do I need to go through this open enrollment stuff? And as we just mentioned, the answer is always yes. The one thing I would really sincerely ask everyone to consider if they're not already doing it is signing up for email delivery, because we have half of our staff working remotely due to COVID. And I'm sure you've seen in the news, I don't know how all of a sudden LA is, but we're the epicenter now. So we're trying to be extra cautious and stay as far away from each other that are in the office as possible. But sending and receiving mail, actually US mail, does require actual intervention that can't be done offsite. So if people that have the ability could use email delivery, we would sincerely appreciate it. For people that can receive and send email and receive their notices that way, but don't have the ability to print the form that they need to, You can be on email delivery and say, hey, I'm sorry, I don't have a printer. Can you just send me this form? And we'll generate and print that form for you and just mail it to you via US mail. So you can still be on email delivery and we can send you documents as needed. So that's something that's available to all participants.
All right. John, if you want to take over for a couple minutes, it looks like I got some questions coming in on text, so I want to make sure to get them. But if you've got anything you'd like to add in the meantime, I want to make sure that we get everything from everyone's side here.
This unfortunately, this isn't like Zoom. I don't know if you could just transfer the host privileges.
You know, I don't know anything about how this works. I didn't even know I was on air. I thought I was watching TV for a while.
Let's see. I guess I can do my best here. Like I said, if you know, folks, as long as you understand that during open enrollment, it's very important to contact the Flex just to update your status. I mean, that's key right there. We also have some issues that I think last time, Sean, you were in town here and came down to the local. I've been finding a trend of folks that carry their own insurance or are on their spouse's insurance, and they have, you know, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 banked in the Flex plan. And strategically, I don't know if that's necessarily the best move to continue forward, because you're never going to whittle that down just simply paying for vision and dental and those types of things. So maybe there's a smarter investment with that money and just continue some coverage from your other plan for a year or 2 years just to whittle that down and get the insurance paid for or whatever. But you know, I don't know why folks would carry more than $20,000 or $30,000 banked in the Flex plan when they can use that money to basically pay the cost.
Some people do it intentionally. So there's a couple different reasons why people will bank money. Mm-hmm. Some are banking it because when they go to retire, they want to have insurance coverage for multiple years, and they want to have the availability to get their Medicare premiums reimbursed, their supplemental Medicare policy reimbursed, and all the things that Medicare doesn't cover, like the donut hole and all the different things. Those are all available for reimbursement for you and your spouse once you are on Medicare. So we can always reimburse premiums as long as you're on the policy. So once you go to the Medicare situation, we can reimburse the spouse's expenses, but not their premiums. But we could do the members' Medicare premiums and the Medicare supplemental. If someone's covered by their spouse's insurance coverage, then they can turn in and get reimbursed for whatever is coming out of the spouse's paycheck to cover the family. So that's something that some people know, some people are not aware of, but we can always reimburse the total premiums that are coming out of a spouse's paycheck to cover a family. So that's one way to have the money come out. Also, if you're working for another employer, and so let's say you're working, some of the contributions are coming in the Flex plan, and then you also have insurance coverage through another employer, we can also reimburse for anything that comes out of their paycheck for that coverage too. As far as having a large bank, those I tend to see if someone's spouse works for a municipality or a school district or something where they have very small out-of-pocket expenses and very small copays, then those people will tend to have larger amounts built up. But they can always, you know, most people have some copay for prescription drugs and some of the other items that are all reimbursable through the plan. Worst case, it'll be there for their retirement years. And we have a lot of people that actually are intentionally trying to bank up money by putting extra pre-tax money in. So that when they do go and they leave the industry, or let's say they want to have 3 or 4 years of coverage left after they stop working, you can stay on the Flex plan coverage as long as you have money in your account. So if you've got 20 grand in your account, you know, we can keep paying your insurance premiums out of that money till it whittles down, and then you go on Cobra. So you could be on the plan, let's say that $30,000 person, you're covering, you know, a family or, you know, a couple of people that can get into some bank in a year or two. So it could take you 3 or 4 years to wear through that. And then you could go on self-pay or Cobra. So it would, some people are doing it to extend the amount of time and giving themselves a cushion in the event that, for example, someone who was not working due to COVID, if they had a bank built up, they would be able to live off that bank.
Okay. I got a retiree question that you were just answering, and it reminded me. I have some older members, and one of the members freelancer, so he's not working as much, so he's going to end up going on Medicare. And I guess the question was, if he's on Medicare and then begins working again and eligible for the flex plan, can he drop off of Medicare and go fully on? Because he likes the flex plan coverage that much.
Well, he doesn't have if he likes the coverage, or he doesn't like the coverage.
He does. Yeah, he
Okay.
loves the coverage.
Okay. It depends. If you continue working, let's say if you stop working, the Medicare is a little tricky. So there's times when you need to enter and select options. If you're still working, you can defer it, but you have to let them know that you're doing it. Because if you don't let them know within, like, I think it's a 90-day, don't hold me to this because that's not my area of expertise, but it's like a 90-day window on either side of your Medicare effective date. If you don't let them know within that window, then they'll start penalizing you percentage points by the months that you wait and don't let them know. Your premiums will be higher. But they can stay on our coverage and select Medicare. They don't have to drop our coverage, but they're going to obviously pay for the Medicare and they're going to pay for ours. I don't think Medicare will let them drop and come back onto ours, but they would have to check with Medicare on that. We would let them come on.
Yeah, because he's not working, so he can't necessarily afford the premium.
Gotcha.
But obviously Medicare, but again, he's looking forward to when COVID's done and can get back more almost full time.
Well, he could requalify with us, but he'd still be paying his Medicare premiums.
Okay.
But even if you're on Medicare, you could still, if you wanted to, if you have the 6250 built up in your account and you come up on an open enrollment period, you could enroll under our coverage and you'd be responsible for the difference between what's in your account and the cost of the coverage.
Can you use the flex plan to offset the costs under Medicare, or is that not allowable?
Yeah, you can use the flex plan money to pay Medicare premiums, to get reimbursed for Medicare premiums and supplemental.
Okay.
But for this person, if they did that, then they're going to have less money to go towards their flex plan coverage if they wanted to re-enable that. But they can do it either way they want.
Okay.
Sean, I got a question from a member here that I'm going to read out to you. Hey guys, I don't get many contributions since I'm mostly a contractor. He's a robo guy. And so I pay the premiums myself. I appreciate the fact that the insurance, while a little pricey, is still really good coverage. But I struggle with adding the dental since it's a max of $1,200 benefit and you pay about half of that in dental premiums. He just wants to know if he's missing something or just kind of get you to weigh in on that.
Okay, so the dental insurance, something that a lot of people don't know is preventive and diagnostic does not count towards that $1,000 maximum. So when you go for your teeth cleanings or x-rays and that kind of stuff, that doesn't go against the $1,000 maximum per person. It's only the actual like fillings and crowns and things like that that apply to the 1,000. And that's 1,000 per each family member. Okay. If you don't have a lot of contributions coming in and you want to stay on the coverage, you can set a very high withholding percentage and do pre-tax withholdings. So when you do get those days from employers that are in the plan, you can have a large amount of your pay go towards the flex plan coverage. So that way you're paying it with pre-tax dollars instead of after-tax dollars. The maximum amount you can put in is 85% of your pay and you can, the cap for what you can put in during the whole year is 12 times the cost of the coverage. So without me having to do any team math on a radio show or whatever we're on right now, let's just say your premiums are $1,000 a month and that would be $12,000 a year. Then you could put up to $12,000 of voluntary money. So every time you work for one of those employers that pays into the plan, you could, in theory, have them take up to 85%. And then instead of the money coming out of your pocket, which you're going to pay anyhow, it'll come out of pre-tax earnings.
Fantastic. I appreciate both of you guys coming on a Sunday, taking time out of your day. John Rizzo, IBEW, Sean Dugan with the Flex Plan. I just wanted to make sure if there was anything else. It looks like we were able to answer some questions, get some good information out there. We had a lot of viewers so far. So I want to give you guys the opportunity, if there's any last words, we want to make sure before December 31st, everyone knows what they're signing up for and what's important. And this is our forum to do it. So any last minute comments or questions, John?
Yeah, call by Monday, please. Don't call on the 31st. I love getting the calls on the 30th with people screaming at me that they're not able to do what they need to do with the flex plan, and this is ridiculous, because they waited until literally the day before the last day of open enrollment. So please call now. Call this meeting.
Exactly. Pressure off yourself and everyone else, and you get to really select what it is and calculate what is the best benefits for your family and for your needs.
Yeah, Monday is our highest call volume day. So Mondays, you'll see potentially a longer wait time. We do now have a callback feature so that if you're on hold and there's calls ahead of you, it'll give you the option to save your place in line, and then we will call you back without you waiting on hold. So that's something new for this open enrollment that we just installed. Kind of freaked out our services reps because we put it in about a week before we started open enrollment, but it seems to be working well. And also just do the email delivery and use the upload, and that'll make things a lot easier on everybody.
Fantastic. Thank you guys both. Again, I'm Raza Siddiqui, Media Essential Workers. Want to make sure we got this information out there because a lot of our guys are freelancers, daily hires who utilize this. And I want to make sure everyone knows in these current times what it is that they need to do. John Rizzo, Sean Dugan, thank you guys both so much.
Thank you, Raza.
Bye now.